When people look back at the movies of 2018, I think this year will be seen as a significant turning point of the progress that we're making with mainstream cinema. Look at the films we've had this year. We've had Black Panther, the first predominantly black cast superhero film. We've had Love, Simon, the first mainstream high school rom-com which is centered around a gay protagonist. And now we've got Crazy Rich Asians, a highly profitable rom-com with a predominantly Asian cast. Times are changing. I don't care that this movie review is coming to you guys like 2 months late. I just saw Crazy Rich Asians last night and loved it. I wanted to talk about it, so I'm gonna. This film totally lives up to the hype. Crazy Rich Asians is the delightful new rom-com from director John M. Chu, who previously directed this Justin Bieber video. Justin! I love me some Minaj. Very rarely do romantic comedies strike a chord with me, but I've had numerous people tell me how good this film was. So out of curiosity, I went to go see it, and I went in cautiously optimistic, and I came out overjoyed. Based off the novel by Kevin Kwan and adapted into a screenplay by Peter Chiarelli and Adele Lim, Crazy Rich Asians, narratively speaking, is your pretty formulaic, typical rom-com. The film kicks off in New York, and rich Chinese boy Nick Young, who's played in this film by Henry Golding, wants to introduce his girlfriend Rachel, who's played by Constance Wu, to his family at this wedding that's taking place in Singapore. She comes from a poorish background, and she has absolutely no idea how vastly wealthy Nick's family are until they get to Singapore. So she worries that she won't live up to the ridiculously high standards of his mother, Eleanor, who's played by Michelle Yeoh. We all want our significant other's parents to like us. On paper, Rachel would be the ideal candidate. She's the youngest professor at her college, she's a proven academic, she's humble, she's polite, she's beautiful, and she's ambitious. But it's her American Asian predisposition that proves troublesome for Nick's mother, who is fully Chinese and very traditional. She's old-fashioned and set in her ways, so they aim to try and win her over. The concept of trying to win over the parents is nothing groundbreaking, but the execution of this film is so joyful and so much fun to watch. It's beautifully shot, this film, but the whole premise of this film does lend itself to an easy-on-the-eyes type of film. Money! Most of it was filmed on location in the most beautiful bits of Singapore. The Gardens by the Bay, Samsara Island, and Rawa Island. God, it skyrocketed up my list of places I want to go to next. Glenn, pack your bags, we're going to bloody Singapore. So yeah, it's very lavish and it's a very vibrant and bright film. I love me some bright colors. I guess what's most awesome about this film though is that it's breaking new grounds by having a predominantly Asian cast. I don't think I've ever seen a mainstream rom-com where pretty much the entire cast is Asian. It's 2018 and I'm seeing it just for the first time now. That's kind of sad when you think about it. But this film has been a hit with the critics and it's made a killing at the box office. And because of its success, you could even classify it as an important film because it's almost like a trailblazer for other films which could have very diverse casts to follow in its footsteps. And speaking of the casting, everybody here is fantastic. Constance Wu is terrific as Rachel. She's a very easy to like character because she's got that whole rags to riches Cinderella vibe, and when she learns of Nick's wealth, she doesn't see it as a jackpot. She sees it as a battle to prove herself to his family. Henry Golding is also very good as Nick, which really says a lot because this is Golding's first ever acting role. Way to hit the ground running by being a leading man in your first ever film. But granted, his character can be a little bit too perfect in some places. He has that impossible mix of wealth, humility, dashing good looks, and absolutely no arrogance. He's written like a dream, and he fits the package perfectly. And what also surprised me is how well screenwriters Peter Chiarelli and Adele Lim fleshed out the supporting characters. There is an array of supporting characters in this film, but you really do get a good sense of who most of them are. Michelle Yeoh is the standout as Eleanor. She is a firm believer in traditions, Christian family values, and carrying on the young empire. She is a proud lioness who will do anything to protect her pack, but she's never painted out to be cruel. Even though some of her actions may seem a bit harsh, her core values are about family and her need to protect it, so you understand where she's coming from. Plus you do eventually grow to sympathize with her because we learn about her past and her striving for acceptance from her mother-in-law. And you can see there's a lot of Rachel in her, and that she is masking a lot of her own vulnerabilities, and Michelle Yeoh beautifully portrays that. Gemma Chan, who you guys might recognize from Humans, is also in this, and she plays one of Nick's cousins, Astrid, who is this glamorous, gorgeous woman who also has her own marital struggles, and I thought she did a very good job here as well. And Aquafina is also in this, and I'm just growing to love her more and more as I see her in more stuff. She has a smallish but scene-stealing part as one of Rachel's friends, and yeah, she gets some of the best lines. Buck buck bitch! They're posh and they're snobby. They're snoshy. And you're a banana, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. Maybe only Asian people are allowed to say that, but yeah, I definitely laughed at that line. It would be easy to say this film is just a vacuous, shallow exploration of consumption, gluttony, wealth, status, and materialism, because it is. There's a bloody scene where there's a stag pie on a shipping freighter in international waters with an obnoxious character firing missiles like they're bottle rockets. Okay, this is excessively wealthy, but the title is called Crazy Rich Asians, okay? If you had shitloads of money, it would warp your perception of the world too, and you would see the world very differently to the average millennial like me, or in this case, the every woman of this film, Rachel, who the film is centered around. It's supposed to be from her point of view. And director John M. Chu does a great job of showing you the juxtaposition of the class and cultural divide between Rachel and Nick's family. As for negatives of this film, it is very generic and cliched, and because of that, it's very easy to predict. There's so many cliche rom-com narrative choices in this. You've got the dress-changing montage scene. There's a conniving ex-lover of one of the protagonists who tries to bring them down. And the film even ends with the whole cheesy race to the airport scene. Just because your cast is diverse does not excuse you from using cheesy rom-com cliches. In the end, guys, I had a really good time watching Crazy Rich Asians. From the opening scene, I was absorbed in the jovial soundtrack. That's another good thing about this film. The music in this is stellar, particularly a cover version of Coldplay's Yellow towards the end. That made me cry. Was not anticipating me crying in this film, but yeah, that was good. I thought the film's pacing breezed along with kinetic energy. However, I will say the final act of this film did feel like it slowed down just a touch. Not to the point where it made the film feel stilted, but it definitely made me feel, oh, the film's still going. The performances were all collectively great. The direction was solid from John M. Chu. He really made me want to go back to Singapore. God, the skyline shots and the lovely intimate shots of all the food in the market stalls. Oh, it really captured the cultural essence of Singapore, and it made the setting for this film almost feel like a character in itself. And even with all the grandeur of all the massive houses and expensive cars and clothes, I still liked that there was time to enjoy the smaller, more intimate family moments, like the scene where they're all making dumplings together. It was just a lovely scene which just provided the film with so much good character growth and gives the film substance. So let's ask those 3 questions. Would I watch this again? Yes, I absolutely love this film. It made me laugh, it made me cry, which is quite rare for a rom-com to do nowadays. So yeah, I would definitely give this another watch at some point. Would I recommend it for you guys? Yes. Oh my god, guys. Go see it. It's a lovely date night movie. It's just a very easy to watch film. Very beautifully made, lovingly performed, and just, oh, it's just delightful to watch. And what score am I going to give it out of 10? I felt great watching this film, guys. It made me really happy. But it is very by the numbers and very predictable. So I'm going to give Crazy Rich Asians a score of 8 out of 10. There you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Crazy Rich Asians, but this is just one bloke's opinion. I want to know yours. Be sure to let me know what you thought of Crazy Rich Asians in the comment section below. If you guys do like this content, please don't forget to click that subscribe button. And of course, if you do want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Stardust, all that information is in the description link below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.